evening, Mr. Robert Glasper.
Oh boy, here he comes.
Here you go.
Here they come, yo. Here they come.
Here they come, yo. Here they come. Here they.
Michaela, bring back Vibe magazine and all that so he can get a spread. What's up, Playboy?
What's up, mate?
What you brought?
I brought my own drink. See,
I
ain't
see
shit in
you
the
done brought your drink.
mugs.
Yeah, it's a mug there. It's clean.
Y'all didn't get my rider?
You didn't get your rider.
He's like, y'all was supposed to put something specific.
We're an independent program. We couldn't afford your rider.
Exactly. Undo this.
We got to take you out to get you a cheesesteak right down on South Street. That's your rider.
I did
tonight.
want that. I did want that.
We'll hook you up. Don't worry about it. We got
Okay,
you.
cool.
We got you. We got you.
Yeah.
We'll make it work.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, let's be professional.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
All right. But if you feel the need to take your shirt off, I'm not.
I told you I might do that. I might feel it. I don't know.
It's all
You're
good.
in a safe space, brother. You can do exactly what you like.
It's for the ladies.
No judgment here.
For the ladies.
So you're from Houston.
Yes.
That's crazy.
It
Because I
is.
did not know you were a Southern boy. Upon meeting you, you wouldn't really know.
Yeah, exactly.
And you did go to Performing Arts High School, much like Michaela Angela Davis.
Yes, exactly.
And you went to Performing Arts School with a pretty,
Pretty big
popular
artist.
kid.
Yeah,
and
pretty big artist.
a pretty popular kid. Yeah. Little Beyonce here. Little Beyonce there.
whatever.
Beyonce,
Whatever.
Brian Michael Cox as well.
Yeah,
big-time producer.
you know.
And now Robert Glasper. I mean,
Now
because
me,
you're mentioned in the
you
same
know.
sentence with all these people.
Exactly. You know, I made them people, you know. I made them. Beyonce was like, what should I do for a living? I was like, sing. Boom. There it is. So.
But yeah, you got to tell us, we did, a little reading and everything, the bio and everything. And growing up, your mother is a singer.
Yes.
And that's pretty
Kim
amazing.
Glasper.
Kim Glasper.
Yes.
Well,
and-
she was a singer. She passed away
Yes.
in 2004. Yes. But, yeah, for me, she pretty much raised me on her own, so for the most part. And so, she'd take me to all the rehearsals. Because during the week, she sang jazz gigs, Broadway gigs, funk gigs, R&B. She literally played in a barn, like on Thursday nights, for country gigs.
A barn?
A real actual barn. Did country shows. Yeah. She was the minister of music for a Seventh-day Adventist church on Saturdays.
Yes.
Minister of music for the Baptist church on Sundays.
Yes, I was going to ask you about East Wind Baptist Church.
East Wind
this
Baptist
is
Church.
This is the place that you first performed at. Is this correct?
East Wind Baptist church. Yeah, I always say, like, when you're a black musician, that's your first, like,
Gig.
you know what I mean? And it's a gig. So when people be like, you ever get nervous? I'm like, no, I've been performing for 35 years. Like, I've been performing
And that's a hard
at
audience.
church. Yeah, church is a very hard audience. You know what I mean? Not really. Everything you do there is, you're good, baby.
As long as
Everybody,
you're praising the Lord.
you're lying. I was not good. That was not good. They don't tell you the truth in church, actually. They don't tell you the truth.
They really don't.
When you're
No.
really good, though.
Yeah, but yeah, they lie in church.
Sister
Let him use
Odell.
you. Let him use you.
Sister Odell doesn't really sound as good as you think
Right.
she sounds.
No, not at all. You're full of the blood you just took. This is communion. You had a little too many communions.
So you said you went on gigs with your mom. Like, were there any rules for you?
No,
Like-
well, my mom didn't. She was the type of mom that didn't like the whole babysitter thing. So she literally, I was 2, 3 years old in the nightclubs, and in the back room, and the waitresses would be checking on me while she's performing the show, and then she would come back, peek in, all right, and do the next set. Like I was at the club.
Right.
Like at the bar, like Jimmy, give me
There
another
wasn't
one.
even no tablets back then to keep you busy. So what was you keeping busy doing?
Exactly. Well, I was into the music. That was a natural thing. I literally remember being in rehearsals when I was 3. I can remember them right now. Dance steps and everything. Because, like, for real, like, I remember so many of those things. I'm like, it was a real thing for me. I was around so much music and so many different styles of music. You walk into my mom's house, you talk to my house, you hear, from Shirley Caesar to Ella Fitzgerald to Liza Minnelli to Bette Midler to, she was
The whole gamut.
everywhere with it. You know what I mean? That's why I'm a musical mutt like I am, because I didn't know genres, splits. It's like, this is,
I mean, with that being said, of course, you have so many influences in which we hear in the music, and that none of these things even really surprise us because you really do give us all of those things in your music where we can hear it. Do you think there's a bit of a glass ceiling for instrumentalists as far as how far they can go and take those things?
Yeah,
breaking through those.
Is there a cap, like before you're considered watered down pop?
Well, for me, I realized you can only go so far with the piano in this time, in this day and age. Like if you're Ramsey Lewis back in the 60s or 70s, you can get on top of a pop chart playing piano. You know what I mean? But not in 2010, not in 2015, not in 2018. You know what I mean? So I realized very fast I need vocals. And I realized very fast I'm not the vocalist. You know, so the quicker you realize what you're not good at,
You got to know your strengths.
you got to know your
strengths.
100%. You have to know what you're good at, and know what you're not good at, because that'll take you faster to where you need to be. You know
But
what I mean?
you're also around so many incredible vocalists that
Exactly.
you have at your disposal.
That's why I was like, let me just do that. You know, and that will cross me over, you know, to where I want to be. I couldn't do it. I did it a little bit with just piano trio, but it wasn't the real crossover. But people that listened, a lot of people will come to my shows who've never been to a jazz club. Never been, you know, I remember playing, I'll never forget this. I played the Village Vanguard in New York.
Yes.
It's one of the most famous jazz clubs in the world.
Absolutely.
And yeah.
You've been to the Village Vanguard.
Yeah, so look, I'll never forget it. In 2007, they came after I did a week, and it was so many black people. And young black people too, you know. At the end of the week, they came to me. They were like, "We don't mean to be weird or anything."
What are you doing?
They were like, "We've never seen this many black people here."
Right.
They told me that. They were like, you know, like
You putting the African Americans back in the seats.
you know what I mean?
But I think that's great because it takes a visionary to kind of to make those kinds of moves and say, okay, this is what we're going to do. So it was intentional. Like this is an intentional move. I'm moving into this area. Yep. But what I found is that you really shined over most of your projects in this kind of very collaborative environment,
Yes.
whether it was completely instrumental or even with artists.
Exactly.
Can we ever look forward to Robert Glasper and his piano?
And just me by myself?
Yeah.
You know what? I've been asked to do that many times, many records, to do a solo piano record. Yeah, I would love to. I'm going to do one at some point. At some point, I'm definitely going to do one. But I feel like my calling, what I'm here for, is to bridge the gap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's what I mean. I'm literally the only musician that we know of, that I know of. Right. Like I've had 4 records be number 1 in jazz on Billboard, number 1 in jazz, and number 2 or number 3 on the hip hop R&B charts. The same album.
Right.
You know, both black radios did that. You know what I mean? They were number 1
Yeah, y'all clap it up
on
for
the
that.
jazz chart. You know,
Incredible.
they were actually. I mean, real talk. Both black radios were They were in 4 different genres, top 10 when they debuted in Billboard. They were hip-hop R&B top 10. They were jazz number 1. They were top 10 urban contemporary, and they were top 10 contemporary jazz. 4 categories, 1 album, twice.
Yes.
Hey, man, be careful with that microphone. That's all we got. You can only drop the mic on them big programs.
I thought it was over. Sorry, I did it in the middle.
We paid for that. We paid for that.
I should said at the end.
Trying to send my son to college.
I didn't realize I had to come back. Sorry.
Playing games out here.
Sorry about that.
When Lauren Talese was out here, you know, we talked a lot about
Lauren, I
Bilal.
love you.
We talked
And your
about
sparkly ass
Bilal.
dress. I dress
And
as sparkly
you
as hell.
met our brother Bilal in New York in college, is this
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
And he was the catalyst to you meeting a lot of the
100%.
first great musicians and artists that you started to play with and work
Bilal, I met Bilal. So what happens is when you go to the college, we went to the new school, and we're all freshmen. They put all the freshmen in the room, and they randomly make bands on a tablet, and they call your name. And they randomly called me and Bilal up at the same time to sing on stage, to play on stage together. And we just never left the damn
with.
stage.
The rest is history.
Yeah. So Bilal used to bring me down here all the time because his mom is from Germantown. And he used to bring me down here all the time. We used to get on the bus and come to the Black Lily on Tuesday nights. Was it Tuesday nights?
Tuesday nights?
On Tuesday nights, yeah. So we used to get on the bus from New York and go to the Black Lily on Tuesday nights, spend the night, and then come back really early in the morning on Wednesday to go to school. So that's where I met everybody. That's where I met Jasmine when she was like 2 or some shit, killing the shit.
She was in the club.
She was 6.
Yeah. She had a bottle on stage, killing the shit. What the fuck? Are you drinking milk? Like,
Her mother's backstage breastfeeding her.
yeah. But that's literally how I got into that thing. So I became, we started writing. We wrote most of his first album, Firstborn Second, in my dorm room. Like a lot of them songs, What Will You Call, All That I Am, like all them songs in my dorm. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that literally is what got me into this side of it. So, and I was his music director, so we were opening up for Common, opening up for Erica, and all these people, and that's just how I got into that side of it. Through Bilal. 100%.
I mean, the cool part is that it seems like, and I had actually written this as a question, but I feel like I already got the answer, but it seems like being called jazz is not the issue. It's just really more so about what you want to do with it. Because I feel like maybe there's a sense where, for a long time we were called neo soul, and people had like an issue with that. They felt it was boxy and kept everybody from doing their thing. But do jazz artists feel like that about the word jazz? Does that mean like, woo? Because does that mean I'm not going to be able to be to do this or that?
It's really when people don't have, because jazz has different compartments. There's trip jazz, this jazz, that
Smooth jazz.
Latin jazz,
acid jazz.
It's a bunch of different, and as it's just how through time shit changes. You know what I'm saying? The sound of something changes. R&B now, R&B in the 90s sounded different than R&B in the 70s.
Right.
And it's still the same genre. It's just called living. It's called growing the fuck up. You just grow and you change.
Well, evolving more so than growing up.
It's called evolving, right?
Right.
It's called evolving. So it evolves. You gotta let it evolve. And a lot of you're supposed to create. That's what we're here for. I remember I was watching something. T.D. Jakes. T.D. Jakes said, God never made a table, and his whole time he never made a table. He never made a chair. God just made a tree.
Right.
And he said, the rest is up to you.
It's the ingredients, and we
Come
gotta
on.
make it into to something.
We're not supposed to just sit here and just let something be what it, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you're supposed to take it and do shit with it, and the laws are going to be broken, and then laws are going to be made, and those are going to be broken, and that's what they're made for. That's what you're supposed to do.
Right.
If it wasn't that, we would not even have microphones right now.
You talked about the success of Black radio, and whose idea was it to do that record, the first Black radio, without letting anybody do extra takes, like just letting them just go and freestyle?
That was me. But I chose people that kind of do that.
Yeah.
I'm a first take person. Like, of all my albums, I've done like 9 albums. I can count the second takes on probably 2 hands. I have 9 albums.
Right.
Every song on Black Radio was 1 take except the song with Mos Def, the Black Radio, the song Black Radio. We did 3 takes of that. Every other song, 1 take, 1 time. Black Radio 2, because the first, I always feel like the first take is the most honest. You know what I mean? It's the most, and even if I'll take a bad piano. If I do another take, the piano solo may be better, but it's not as honest as the first take. You know what I mean? So I have piano solos that I'm not necessarily crazy about, but it just feels good.
Right.
And I prefer for somebody to say it feels good than to be like, ooh, you were killing, or, you played fast, or, what I mean?
You play fast.
I'm over that. You know what I mean? It's really about what it feels like for me. So first takes just most of the time feel better.
Yeah. Was there an artist involved in that process who you felt operated in the most freedom? Was there any one artist that stood out?
I chose the most freest people. You know what I mean? Like, Bilal's the freest person I fucking know. You know what I mean? And I've worked with him for so long. Yeah. He's super. Layla, Lettucey. Lettucey came to I would say, for those of you who don't know, like, Black Radio almost didn't happen like 4 times because there was so many people on it. Right. And it was hard to get scheduled.
Get everybody together.
Get everybody together. So I gave up. After the 4th time through it, I gave up. I was like, you know what? it ain't gonna happen. And me and my band went on tour, right, in Europe. And my manager called me in the middle of the tour and was like, I don't know what happened, but everybody is available next week in LA in 6 days. I was like, are you kidding me? She was like, no. So I canceled my tour. I didn't have any songs written. That's why half of Black Radio is cover songs. Half of it's cover songs. We got to there. I did Black Radio in 6 days. Literally.
Cherish the Day, Afro Blue.
Cherish the Day. Layla was reading the lyrics from her iPhone. That was the sound check. Cherish the Day.
Don't do me like that.
Look, no,
don't even do me like that.
Cherish the Day was the sound check. If you notice, when you listen to it, it fades in. Because before that, she was saying, mic check 1, 2, 3, mic check 1, 2, 3. So we just kept going, and it ended up great. And I was like, we're good. Thanks.
Well, the greatest make the greatness.
But Layla did a first take on the second one, Black Radio 2. We did Jesus Children of America. Stevie's. We won a Grammy for that.
The Grammy.
Malcolm Jamal Warner and Layla.
One take. Malcolm wasn't supposed to be on it. What happened was, so this is the deal. When I do records, and I feel like everybody should try to get this concept because it's a real concept, whether you want to swallow it or not, it's going to happen. You have to realize that the universe is going to co-produce your album. And you have to be okay when shit don't go the way you planned it. Because if you plan everything, it's not going to be as good as if you let the universe have a little piece of it. You know what I mean? So the reality, so what happened with Jesus Children of America, that was a special song because the first time we ever did Jesus Children of America with Layla was the day of the Sandy Hook tragedy.
Right.
One of my good friends, Jimmy Green, his daughter was killed that day.
Really?
Jimmy Green, yeah, her name is
Yeah, you talked
Anna.
about this in your Grammy acceptance speech.
In my Grammy acceptance speech. So that day I happened to do I have a Stevie Wonder tribute band, and I've done like 3 concerts. One of them was here, or one here, at the Kimmel Center. Yep. Yeah. And then we did 2 at Harlem Stage in New York. They only did 3, so it's 3 shows. Stokely, Layla, Eric Robinson, right? And the first day of that show was the morning of that happening, and we did Jesus Children of America. So when it was time for Black Radio 2, I said, Layla, I want to do that song. And she came in the studio. We did one time. And they won a Grammy. You know, and that's why I dedicated it to Jimmy.
Got to let God in the room.
But there's I have so many stories. I mean, it will take too much time. With my Black Radio albums that, like, shit just went totally wrong, so I thought. Right. But stuff that it ended up, like, being better than what I thought it was going to be.
I'm curious, too, like, I mean, I kind of know why, but I'd love if you tell me about why you decided to even name it Black Radio.
Yes.
I named it Black Radio. 2 is a double-edged sword. It's 2 things. In my mind, this is what Black Radio should sound like. You know what I mean? People always say, why'd you did Teen Spirit. You did a David Bowie song with Bilal.
So did the title come first, or did the music come first?
No, the music came first.
Okay.
The music came first. Black Radio actually, no, I'm sorry, wrong. Technically, I wrote this song, Black Radio, with Mos Def back in 2005.
Right.
I was Mos Def's music director. He was using my band whenever he did shows. And so we wrote a song together called Black Radio.
Right.
You know what I mean? So then when it's time for the record, I was like, that's a dope name for the album.
Right.
Because of that. And Black Radio is like the black box in the airplane. You know what I mean? So when the airplane crashes and burns.
That's the only thing that survives.
That's the only thing that survives. And I feel like real music always survives no matter what.
This is true. This is very true. Don't drop that mic, Rob.
So we gotta, like you said, there's so many collabs. So we gotta talk about Kendrick.
Yes.
Kendrick Lamar, To Pimp a Butterfly.
Yes.
I'm gonna start by saying, I think that's the only rap album or hip hop album. Look, it's been phones going off. People been up there laughing, talking.
She didn't get on y'all tonight. Usually she'll get on you.
I usually get on
But
people.
we know it's a lot of first timers in here tonight, so we're going to let y'all have a pass.
Go on, let the party keep the party going. So anyway, what I said was, we got to talk about Kendrick. To Pimp a Butterfly for me and our household was the first hip hop album I want to say that connected the whole family. Well,
In a real way.
In a real way.
Yep.
My oldest child was a high school student at the time, and of course we would go back and forth. He would say, "Hey, Ma, listen to this," and I'd be like, "Yeah, but listen to this, because this wouldn't, you wouldn't get that without this." And we had this moment back and forth. But To Pimp a Butterfly was that moment where we all sat there like, okay.
It's the first hip hop album to really bring jazz to the forefront with people who are living. Most hip hop record, when they sample something, it's from somebody that's been gone for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's a sample.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is the first time that they use somebody you're using jazz, but you're living people who are living, and you're using young people.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because when you think of jazz, most people think of old people.
Yeah.
I even have to tell people, if you think of your favorite jazz albums, because a lot of old people tend to try to shun the young musicians sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know this, blah, blah, blah. But if you go back and think about your favorite jazz albums, just peep how old they were.
At the time.
At the fucking time.
They were all young people. Yeah, they were all young people.
They were young.
Right.
I think about that
we think of them now. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, Miles Davis, yeah. Or Herbie, yeah. Herbie was 19.
Right.
Yeah.
Herbie was 19. Herbie was 20. Herbie was 19 when he joined Miles' band.
Yeah.
Some of the best Miles Davis you'll hear, Herbie, the oldest he was with Miles was like 23.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but all those guys, Clifford Brown, you can go down the list, they were all young people. God said the children shall lead them.
Oh, yeah. Ooh. Come on, Barn. Come on, Barn. Come on, Barn. That Barn raised that boy.
But I mean, even if you think of our greatest activists, when they start,
I was going to say it.
It don't stop at music.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're 20 years old. They're 30 years old. Like,
30
you know
years
what I'm saying?
old.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Miles Davis is one of your biggest influences as a jazz musician. Why do you identify with him specifically so much?
Because I always say he was a walking middle finger. He didn't give a fuck. You know? And he was about lifting up his people, and also he was about not being, not staying in the same place. You know what I mean? He was always about moving and transcending and changing, always. You know what I mean? That's what he was about. And so, you know, when I got caught, because I did the score for the Miles Davis movie.
Exactly. Miles Ahead.
Miles Ahead. And we actually won a Grammy for the soundtrack.
Absolutely.
It's not about Grammys. I'm sorry, I mentioned that.
I thought it was an incredible movie, too. Don Cheadle's production.
Yeah. Did we beat out Straight Outta Compton? Yes, we did. But whatever.
You're a part of everything, man.
You know,
it's a beautiful
look,
thing.
It is. It's great. So look, To Pimp a Butterfly, right? To go back to that. Yeah, so the reason, using young people in jazz was a huge thing. And this Kendrick Lamar, he has this platform to do so. Right. The way I got on the album was random as hell. It's Universe again. Because when I heard Good Kid, Mad City, I said, I called my boy Terrace Martin, who's one of the producers, great producer, and one of my best friends on that. And I said, Terrace, the next time you do the next album with Kendrick, I have to be on that somewhere. Somewhere. Even if it's the hand clap, something. I got to be on
So wait, Terrace produced on Good Kid, Mad City?
Yes, sir.
I didn't realize that.
Oh, yes, sir. Yeah, Terrace produced on Good Kid, Mad City. And he produced Pimp a Butterfly, so a bunch of stuff, So anyway, I was in LA and I was recording my album Covered. It's a trio album I did, Covered. And Terrace called me. He's like, "Yo, you in LA?" I posted on Instagram or something. He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yo." He was like, "Yo, I'm at Dr. Dre's studio right now with Kendrick. Can you come by and play on this song after you finish?" I was like, "Bet." So I jumped in the Uber after my thing, and I went. Wait, was Uber back then? I got a cab, something. I don't know.
Just jump in
When
the
did Pimp a
Uber
Butterfly
cab.
come out? Yeah. So whenever, anyway, I got there, and the song he wanted me to play on was the song For Free. This dick ain't free, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I met Kendrick. I had met him like twice before. briefly, but he never seen me play. So when I played, he was like, oh, shit. He was like, yo, pull up Mortal Man, you know, pull up blah, 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 pull up this, pull up Complexions, you know. So I played on 9 songs. In that sitting down, I never got up. He just said, yo, pull this song up. He would play it once, and he would just say, play what you hear. Play what you hear, play what you hear, play what you hear. And one of the songs, Complexions, a lot of people, most people, nobody knows this actually. Complexions, Thundercat was there, so Thundercat wrote that song. And he came in, and he showed me the changes. So I'm playing the song. When the track finished, I just kept playing. And I kind of changed the chords a little bit and changed the vibe a little bit. And you can see Kendrick in the window like, oh, keep going, y'all, you know. So I just kept going. I kept playing. And when I got out of the booth, he was like, yo, that's so dope. He was like, I'm going to bring up a different beat to it, and I'm going to rap in a different voice. But instead of doing that, he got Rhapsody.
Right.
You know what I mean? He got Rhapsody to jump on that part.
Right.
Once she did that, she was out of here.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But that was just literally the universe. Like, and I tell people all the time, like, you know, sometimes it's not about just being talented. It's about, you know, putting yourself in position to receive a blessing. You know what I mean? Or putting yourself, you know, go where the food is if you're hungry. You know, you can't just be talented and your ass live in Kentucky. So, you know what I mean? Like, you got to go places. Even if you don't move there, you got to find your way and just make yourself available to be, you know what I mean? So you can be in the right place at the right time. Because a lot of it is that. It's just being in the right place at the right time, or just being, you know, somewhere where whatever you do is plentiful. You need to be there as much as you can. Yeah. So you can get that. You know?
You seem like in a work environment, you're really just open. And Derek Hodge, who was a part of the Robert Glasper experience, right, who is amazing, was here, actually was on our show. He came.
Derek's literally my favorite musician.
He's one of my favorite people, too. He's like a really good
100%.
person, you know, just really cool. And he said he's self-taught composer, amazing artist. You've been educated. You've done the formal thing. Do you enjoy working with people who are self-taught, out of the box, doing things differently? I mean, I know you do, but in terms of just musicianship, do you like to just bring people from?
Love it.
Yeah.
I love it. You know, that's a school of Duke Ellington. Duke Ellington, what Duke Ellington would do, what made Duke Ellington so dope was that half of his band were trained musicians that could read music. Other half of his band was just from the hood, but they had soul and feeling. So he would bring those guys.
That connection.
Exactly. They couldn't really read music, but he would have the cats that read music show them the shit, and then it's like, it sounds great. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So not
the best
that
of both worlds.
Yeah, exactly. But Derek's he's a freak of nature. I mean,
Beast.
I love. But I love that. I love connecting with people who don't necessarily have the background of training. Derek is trained now. I mean, he's he knows more about music than me, hands down. But he's just I love collaborating with people because everybody has a story. You know what I mean? And everybody has something. Most people, well, not everybody, fuck that. But a lot of people have something that you can connect with that's dope.
How do we preserve jazz and its legacy for a generation that feels removed from the genre? And is that a part of your mission as a musician?
Say it one more time.
How do we preserve jazz and its legacy for a generation that feels removed from the genre? And is that a part of your mission as a musician?
The way you preserve it is to let it breathe, because you're killing it if you don't allow it to breathe and change and move and live. You know what I mean? The problem is a lot of people want it to stay the same because of their own agendas, because they don't understand where it's going. They don't understand, why are you mixing it with this? I don't understand that music. You can't mix it with that. But jazz is a mutt from the beginning. From its birth, it's a mutt. You know what I mean? So it's always been mixed with something. So at what part do you stop and say, okay, here. You could have stopped that shit in the 40s. It was a mutt in the 40s. It's a mutt in the 50s. It was a mutt in the 60s, and on and on and on. So you can't all of a sudden be like, Now you're writing hip hop. You have to stop now. You can't do that. You know, that's not it. So you know that jazz, the real tradition of jazz is that it always changes. That's the tradition.
That's the legacy.
That's the legacy.
Right.
You know what I mean? All the people who have innovated the music will agree with that. Herbie will agree with that. Wayne Shorter will agree with that. You know, Roy Haynes will agree with that. All of our living legends will agree with that. Some of the people who can't necessarily identify with what's going on and don't care to want to end at a certain place because that's where they can be a part of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because other than that, it's like, you know, I've had older cats tell me, like, I don't know what the hell you're doing, but the fact that you're doing it, I appreciate it. You know what I mean? And I applaud it. And it seems like it's bringing people to jazz clubs that's never been there before.
Yeah.
And it's bringing people to jazz that's never been there before. You know what I mean? So that's what it, you know, that's, I really feel like that's what I'm here for, you know.
There's a hip hop producer that most people know out in the audience and of course probably watching, Jay Dilla, who is extremely influential on you and your style. Tell us about why you connect with him as a producer so much. God rest his soul.
Yeah, rest in peace. When Bilal first got signed to Interscope Records, the first producer, we were sophomores in college, and the first producer they had Bilal work with was Dilla. So Bilal was like, I want to bring my boy Rob with me, you know? So we got on the plane and stayed with Dilla for 2 weeks and jammed with him every day. He was on the MPC, I was on his Rhodes. Yeah, and Bilal would freestyle on his microphone, and we did the same shit every day. We would wake up, jam a little bit, go eat, Mongolian barbecue, come back, jam more, then go to a strip club. And then strip club and a regular.
Influences everywhere.
Influences everywhere. So look, but this is what he would do. He would take the stuff we were jamming on and some of the beats that, and kind of confine them a little bit, and he would literally give the tape to the fucking DJ at the strip club. And they would play the shit. And I'm like, yo, we did that this morning. And they'll be up there like, you know.
That's
like,
too much power.
That's awesome.
That.
Yo. And no, for real talk.
But that's a good test right there.
That's a good test.
That's actually a really good
if the
test.
sisters can dance to it, then you're good.
Then you got something.
Because you have to have your ear to what's popping. If you want to know what's happening right now in music, strip club. That's the only reason why I go to strip clubs.
It's to expand your mind musically. Come on.
Got to study the music. Hello, and the wings. Study the music and the wings. That's why I go to strip clubs.
Music and wings. Music and wings.
But no, Dilla is the only producer that I know. Dilla's the only producer that I know, and I say this all the time, that changed the way musicians play. You know what I mean? Like, we try to play like his beats.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's a thing. I always felt like the neo soul movement was really Dilla-infused R&B.
Oh, yeah.
He injected it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was hip-hop infused R&B.
Yeah.
That's what neo soul movement felt like to me.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I
mean,
mean?
the way that people are playing the keys is trying to emulate
100%.
samples of the music.
It's
I mean,
100% trying to sound like Dilla.
Yeah.
And shout out to James Poyser, by the way.
Yeah, shout out to James Poyser, absolutely.
You know, James is a big influence. Bilal hit me to James Poyser. Bilal was trying to show me earlier on, like in '98, play it like this. And I'm like, what? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then I finally saw James play it. I was like, oh.
It's gospel-infused R&B.
You know what I
soul.
mean? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But he brought that sensibility to what we was doing
man,
in the soul
James
and
is an
R&B
unsung hero, man. I love James. He's a really big influence on my playing. You know what I mean? Him and June. You know?
June, yeah.
I want to ask you this because I know that you're not really into smooth jazz. You don't really like the terminology, and you don't really seem to.
No, I like the
that style of
terminology.
music.
I love the terminology
Okay.
because you're saying it's smooth jazz.
Right.
You're not saying it's jazz.
Right.
You're saying it's smooth jazz.
But they don't really, they don't call you smooth jazz in that way. But who do you think is the best smooth jazz musician that's out there? Because you're a musical maestro.
That can actually
and
play?
I know you that's really, really good, but they fall under that moniker of smooth jazz.
Really good?
Yeah. It's got to be somebody, Rob.
Okay, you know who can play?
Classic moment
you know who,
was on. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
You know who actually really play, though? Because what happens in smooth jazz is, to a certain extent, you have to kind of box in your vocabulary because you have to make it palatable. Palatable.
Palatable.
Wait, palatable.
Palatable.
You got to do that. Because the people who listen to smooth jazz mostly, they're coming from, soul music or R&B, blah, blah, blah. So with smooth jazz, it's kind of staying in that box. You can understand. We need smooth jazz. I don't have a problem. My first real jazz CD was Kenny G, Silhouette album.
That's actually outlawed in my house. Yeah, all that. So
see, you know that shit. You know.
But look, I played clarinet in junior high in a stage band.
So did I.
But I used to try to play the side of my mouth like Kenny G. And I got in trouble all the time.
Yep.
And I had vibrato on it and everything. Like,
there was a time that black folks was really, really into Kenny G.
100%. 100%. My dad loves smooth jazz.
I know
you. I seen him on Instagram.
My dad loves.
Have epic fights about smooth jazz.
You and your dad's fights about smooth jazz is like classic television.
Come on, Dad. He traps me in the car. He locks the doors and rolls the windows up and be like, boom. I'd be like, ah! No! But
Boney James all day.
There's good smooth jazz. He's terrible. There's good smooth jazz, though. There's some cats that can really play, like Gerald Albright. Gerald Albright
is a great musician, though, yes.
Gerald Albright, Whalum, Kirk Whalum. They can really play. You know what I mean? I respect it when you can really play.
George Howard?
I don't know George. My dad knows George Howard. Okay. I've heard him say something about him before.
Okay.
But this is my thing. We need smooth jazz. Smooth jazz is like light-skinned people.
Fix it.
What I mean,
he said, fix it. Fix it, Robert. Fix it.
What I mean is, like, you need light-skinned people.
This
so
lady
white
about to take her earrings off right now.
What? I tell communists all the time. I be like, yo, we need you. Because back in the day, we needed light-skinned people to help make white people feel comfortable. Like, you know what? He's black, but he's light-skinned. I don't feel threatened,
Michaela talked about that earlier. She did.
She did.
Who did?
Michaela said
talked
the
about that
exact same thing.
There we go.
Right.
So smooth jazz kind of the same thing. It's like John Coltrane may be too hardcore right now for you.
Right.
But Kenny G
will ease you into that.
Kenny G's the lotion.
Gateway
He's
drug.
Put a little lotion on it, ease on in. I'm so sorry. That was weird. That was weird.
Lubricate you.
I'm sorry. You know what I meant by that. That was weird, though. It was weird.
Look, we running long, and we can sit with Rob for
but you know
hours
what I mean, no.
talking.
I know what you mean.
Tell us about August Green, which is a new project that you're working on with Common and Kareem Riggins.
Yes.
And you guys did a huge thing on the the Tiny Desk concert.
Yeah, we did
on it and all those different things.
Yeah, so me and Kareem Riggins, amazing producer, we produced Common's album called Black America Again.
Yes.
Maybe 2 years ago.
Incredible album. Yeah,
so while we were making that, Common was like, yo, man, we got to do something together as a group. I love working with y'all. He was like, this is the first time I felt the way I felt since Water for Chocolate.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's like one of my favorite hip-hop albums of all time.
Absolutely.
Top 5 for me.
Very great album.
So, he said that. He was like, man, we got to do something. So Amazon happened to come to him and say, we want you to do something special. And he was like, yo, y'all want to do a group? And so we did a group, and we did an exclusive for Amazon deal. Mm-hmm. And so that's why it was only on Amazon for 2 months.
Oh, okay.
And now it's everywhere now. You know what I mean? But it had to be exclusive for Amazon for 2 months because they paid us to do it. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. So,
ain't
but this
wrong
group,
with that.
Not at all. And this group is awesome because it's like we can go anywhere we want to go. Common's been rocking with me. I used to teach him piano lessons in 1999. Right. He used to live in Brooklyn. Bilal and Erica and me and Common live like 3 blocks from each other. You know what I mean? So Erica used to come to my crib and play me cassette tapes of ideas. She's like, this song, I think I'm going to name it Orange Moon. What do you think? Play me songs. Common used to come over to my crib or come to I used to play at this little club, Jazz Trio, and he would come and jump up and rock and just freestyle for a whole set damn near. You know what I mean? So it was just a family, and I used to go to his house and give him piano lessons and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So
Wow. To be a fly on the wall in the life of Robert Glasper.
Indeed.
You know, just watch his Instagram and you can get a little sneak peek into his life.
A little bit.
You know what I mean? But it's incredible. Rob, I mean, again, we could sit here and talk to you for a very long time.
100%.
And this doesn't even scratch the surface of all of the things that you're a part of and that you've done.
My modeling. We'll do that.
Yeah,
Right.
we'll talk about that the next time you
Right.
come on the program, God willing.
Yeah.
But
The
we know that
exotic
the people
dancing.
will really love to hear some Robert Glasper
Yes,
music.
I think so.
If that's all
I
right.
think that's fair enough to
So
say.
we would love if you would close out the program with some of what you do
The
best.
stylings.
Awesome.
Band, please come on back up and join us.
We have to get you back
And
out here.
So,
accompany Rob with some things.
A quick thing about the song we're going to do. We're going to do a song that I recorded with Lettucey.
Yes.
That one. Yep. I did it for
What
you.
is FTB? Because it's FTB or it's all right. And I
Well,
want to know if it's what I think it is.
Okay, so when Lettucey came to the studio, remember I told you everybody everybody was available on Black Radio in 1 week? So when I got to LA, Lettucey was the last person to record. She came to the studio at 3 in the morning. She just flew in. And we sat there for like an hour trying to figure out what to do. We didn't know what to do. I was like, talking about cover songs. And then I was like, actually, I have a song called FTB. Let me play it for you. And she was like, I can write lyrics to that. She wrote lyrics in like 15 minutes. It got in the booth. I called her Aunt Jemima that day. She had that rag on, the sweatpants. It was 4 in the morning, you know. So, and she went in there and, she recorded that joint in less than an hour. It was done. You know what I mean? So it came from my album. I have an album called In My Element I did in 2007.
These are albums that you should go back and check out before Black Radio.
Exactly.
Canvas, Fresh.
In My Element
Fresh
kind of put me
Sounds.
on the map because I did a Jay Dilla tribute on there, and Q-Tip was on it, and he kind of introduced that. And then so I did FTB on there. So I'll tell you the name but I didn't write. It's not my fault. I didn't say that. I didn't come up with the name.
Okay.
My drummer came up with the name.
But what did it mean?
Okay, I'm going to tell you. Hold on. Before I had the name for it, we used to play it all the time. And at the shows, after the shows, girls would be like, excuse me, what's the name of that song? And they would sing it, you know, and the women loved the song. So my boy was like,
I knew this was gonna be funny.
I'm not going to throw him on the bus. I'm not going to let you know if either the drummer or the bass player. I'm not going to tell you what. He was like, we should call it For These Bitches. I was like, no. I have too much respect.
This is terrible.
I was like, I have too much respect for women.
I thought it was Forget the BS.
No.
But, you know.
I'll say I have too much respect for women to call it that. We'll just call it FTB.
Okay.
Well, with that being said,
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Robert Glasper.
Robert Glasper.
Before I don't know if we're going to talk again, but let's not get it twisted. I came to y'all about 4 years ago telling y'all we need to do something. Did I not do it? Did I not do that? I just want y'all to know that. I said I should do. I said I should produce a whole album on y'all. Y'all remember that? Yes. We was in Paris. I saw niggas was in Paris. That's right. I rolled up on him. I was walking by and I saw Kendrick. I was like, what the fuck? And I went in there and I played Far Away From Here, Far Away From Here, Far Away From Here. Put it back, put something back. Come on, man. That's the remix. Okay, sorry.
I'm gonna do my best Lettucey, all right? And when I mess up, y'all just pick up, okay? Let's go. Just bring me the sunshine, your smile, I'll be okay. No matter if the rain falls, you go, I'll be okay. Just bring me the sunshine with your smile, I'll be okay. No matter if the rain falls when you call, I'll be okay. Oh, it's gonna be alright. I know it's gonna be okay. Sing it. It's gonna be alright with you. I know I'll be okay. Go ahead. It's gonna be alright. I know it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be alright with you. I'm gonna be okay. Just bring me the sunshine with your smile, baby. I'll be okay. No matter if the rain falls when you call, I'll be okay. Yeah, yeah. Just bring me the sunshine, yeah, with your smile, baby. Yeah, I'll be okay. No matter if the rain falls, no, when you call, I'll be okay. Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be alright. I know it's gonna be. Y'all say, come on. It's gonna be alright. I know it's gonna be. You say, come on. It's gonna be alright. I know it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be alright. I know it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be alright. I know it's gonna be okay. Oh, it's gonna be alright. I know it's gonna be. It's gonna be sing it, y'all. It's gonna be alright. Oh, it's gonna be okay. okay. You tell me it's gonna be alright. Ooh, say it's gonna be alright. I know it's gonna. Somebody tell, gonna be alright. Ooh, it's gonna be alright. No, it's gonna be okay. Gonna be alright. Tell yourself, gonna be okay. I know, I know, I know, I know. I know, I know. I know, I know, I know, I know. I know. Robert Glasper, ladies and gentlemen!
Let's sing, girl! I had Trina say because my throat was funny, darling. I wasn't listening. Am I still on the other song? I'm going to play something. Since we're talking about solo piano, I'm going to play solo piano. Oh, yeah. I'm going to do a song that I recorded on my album, Covered. It's a piano trio record, and I recorded a song by Bilal. And I'm in Philly, so I want to play this song. Bilal's a great songwriter, and he had a big influence on me. And me and Lauren were on tour with Bilal in 2001 or something? 2003, in that? Yeah, 2003, 2004. I was 2 years off, whatever. That was fun. Yeah, so this song is it's a song by Bilal entitled Levels.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Robert Glasper. Thank you, brother.